In the heart of a village long forgotten by the passage of time, an ancient church stood resilient against the winds of change. Its stone walls, weathered and warm, spoke of countless prayers whispered into the ether, while the air inside was thick with the scent of beeswax and the soft, flickering glow of countless candles. Each flame danced with a life of its own, casting shadows that seemed to sway in rhythm with the heartbeats of those gathered within. On this particular evening, the congregation filled the pews, a tapestry of faces illuminated by the golden light. They sat in neat rows, a mixture of young and old, each person drawn by the promise of miracles and the hope that perhaps, just perhaps, the stories of Jesus could still touch their lives. The pastor, a man with kind eyes and a voice that resonated like a warm embrace, stood at the pulpit, his presence commanding yet gentle. Behind him, a grand painting of Jesus walking on water loomed large, a testament to faith and the extraordinary power of belief. As the pastor began to speak, his voice reverberated through the hallowed space, weaving a narrative that transcended time. He spoke of the miracles of Jesus, recounting tales that had been passed down through generations, each one a thread in the rich tapestry of faith that enveloped the church. His words flowed like a river, carrying the congregation along with him, as he began with the story of the blind man healed at the gates of Jericho. "Imagine," he said, his hands gesturing as if to paint the scene before them, "a man who had known only darkness, who sat by the roadside day after day, pleading for alms. One day, he hears a commotion and the crowd swells around him. It is Jesus, the healer, the miracle worker. With a simple touch, his sight is restored, and he sees the world for the first time. The colors, the faces, the beauty of creation. Can you feel that joy? Can you see the light that flooded into his life?" The congregation leaned in closer, some with tears glistening in their eyes, others nodding in silent understanding. They were not merely listeners. They were participants in the story, each one reflecting on their own struggles, their own darkness, and the flicker of hope that resided within. The pastor moved on to another tale, one of a grieving mother whose only son lay lifeless in her arms. "Jesus approached the city of Nain," he continued, "and as he saw the widow weeping, his heart was moved with compassion. He reached out and touched the bier, saying, 'Young man, I say to you, arise.' And in that moment, life returned to the boy." Can you imagine the mother's joy, the disbelief, the ecstatic laughter that must have erupted as she held her son once more? Hands began to rise in the congregation, some reaching toward the heavens, others clutching at their chests as they silently prayed for their own miracles. The pastor's voice swelled with passion as he spoke of the feeding of the 5,000, a miracle that seemed almost too grand to fathom. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, he recounted, in the hands of Jesus, became a feast for thousands. He took what little was offered, blessed it, and it multiplied beyond all understanding. This is the essence of faith, taking our small offerings and trusting that they can become something magnificent. The flickering candlelight danced in the eyes of the congregation, illuminating their faces with a glow that mirrored the hope ignited within them. They envisioned the scene, the vast crowd, the laughter of children, the aroma of fresh bread filling the air, and the wonder that must have enveloped everyone as they took part in this miraculous feast. As the pastor continued, he spoke of the importance of faith, of believing in the impossible. "Miracles," he said, "are not just stories from the past. They are alive today, waiting for us to embrace them. Each of you carries a miracle within, a spark of divine possibility. What is it that you seek? Healing for your body? Comfort for your spirit? A wayward child to return home? Jesus is here, among us, ready to meet you in your need." The atmosphere thickened with reverence, a palpable energy that seemed to vibrate through the very stones of the church. People began to whisper their prayers, a soft murmur that filled the sacred space. Some bowed their heads in quiet contemplation, while others raised their hands, surrendering their burdens to the divine. The pastor paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle. He looked out over the congregation, seeing their faces illuminated by candlelight, a mosaic of hope and longing. "Remember," he said, his voice steady and warm, "the miracles of Jesus were not just for those who walked with him. They are for us all. He invites you to step into your faith, to believe that what seems impossible can become possible." As the service drew to a close, the pastor invited everyone to come forward for prayer. One by one, they approached the altar, the flickering candles casting a warm glow around them. Each person carried their own story, their own burden, and as they knelt in prayer, the pastor laid his hands upon them, invoking blessings and healing. In that ancient church, surrounded by the flickering flames and the echoes of centuries of faith, miracles began to unfold, not just in the stories of Jesus, but in the hearts of those who dared to believe. They left that sacred space transformed, their spirits ignited with hope, ready to carry the light of miracles into their lives and the world beyond. And as the last candle flickered out, the promise of faith lingered in the air, an unbreakable bond connecting the past, present, and future.